June is Pride Month. It's the month where we take a moment to celebrate how far LGBTQIA+ rights have come, while still acknowledging all the work that still needs to be done. It's also the month where J.K. Rowling tries to do what Voldemort couldn't and destroy Harry Potter. But this year, Pride Month had been made worse by the Trump administration. They killed a rule that blocks doctors from refusing to treat transgender people, and on Saturday, they announced a new proposal allowing single-sex homeless shelters to turn away transgender people who are, quote, not really the right gender. And you know, it's amazing that even during a pandemic and national protests, Trump has still found a way to say screw you to the LGBTQ community. It's almost like if Hannibal Lecter was on his way to kill someone and then took a quick detour to burn down a community garden. How much hate does one person need? So this Pride Month wasn't looking great. But then, this happened.
A major civil rights decision out of the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has ruled that LGBT Americans are protected by the anti-discrimination laws of this country at their workplaces. They cannot be fired or otherwise discriminated against at work simply because they are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. It was written by Justice Neil Gorsuch and joined by Chief Justice John Roberts. Gorsuch appointed by President Trump. Chief Justice John Roberts, the leader of the conservative wing of the court. It is a 6-3 opinion, which in ringing terms holds that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 encompasses lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in this country, protecting them from discrimination by their employers.
Yes. Gay people across America just got a huge win, and Mike Pence just got a huge aneurysm. The Supreme Court has ruled that people cannot be discriminated against at work simply because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. And the reason is because they are protected by the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And you gotta admit, that is one badass law to still be helping more groups get equal rights. I mean, we have to buy a new iPhone every 2 years, but somehow this act is rolling out new features 56 years later. And obviously, this should all be basic decency, right? Nobody should be fired just for being gay. I mean, the only reason you should be fired is if you're doing your job poorly. Or if you're doing your job so well that you make the rest of us look bad. I mean, then you also need to go. Now, the Supreme Court ruling isn't the only good news for human rights that is coming out right now. Because over the weekend, Black Lives Matter rallies continued spreading around the globe.
Black Lives Matter and anti-racism protests continue around the world. Thousands in Europe, Asia, and the South Pacific continued marching to call for equality.
Black Lives Matter still reverberating around the world. Massive protests in Japan, New Zealand, South Korea. This is the US Embassy there.
Thousands of people have formed a human chain in Berlin to unite against racism and discrimination. Participants were asked to wear masks and to keep socially distanced from one another, and they were linked by colourful ribbons, forming what organisers called a ribbon of solidarity.
Protesters chanting Black Trans Lives Matter outside the Brooklyn Museum. A number of groups took part in yesterday's demonstration, with transgender activists leading a march.
Nearly 30,000 people, all dressed in white, in honor of Black trans lives that represented unity in the fight for equality, for justice, for two deeply marginalized groups in New York City.
Yes, from Brooklyn to Europe and all the way to New Zealand, thousands of people from all walks of life are still assembling in the streets to say that Black Lives Matter. And it really is a powerful thing to see. I mean, the last thing this many people agreed on was that Carol Baskin probably killed her husband. I mean, they're even coming out in Japan. They don't even have black people in Japan. Japan is basically saying, when we finally see a black person, we will welcome them with open arms. And as the whole world is watching these rallies take place around the globe, it's clear that one person is starting to feel jealous. Donald Trump, President of the United States and the only human who has ever fired a Secretary of State and meatloaf. Trump hasn't been able to hold a rally of his own since before the coronavirus pandemic. But after months of waiting, he announced that his first rally in months would take place this Friday in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was just one problem.
A rare reversal from President Trump, now delaying his controversial Tulsa rally.
It was initially scheduled for Juneteenth, a day marking the end of slavery. But after criticism for the timing and Tulsa's history as a city scarred by century-old race riots, the president tweeted, "Many of my African-American friends and supporters have reached out to suggest that we consider changing the date out of respect for this holiday. I have therefore decided to move our rally to Saturday, June 20th, in order to honor their request."
Now, one way to look at this is that Trump is so oblivious, he didn't even realize how messed up it would be to have a rally on Juneteenth in a city where one of America's worst racial massacres took place. But I guess the glass half full version of the story is that even someone as racially insensitive as Trump is now recognizing the importance of Juneteenth. And that's not nothing. I mean, let's be honest, a year ago, if you told Trump that he couldn't hold a rally on Juneteenth, what would he have said? He probably would have been like, "If I cared about emancipation, I would have freed Melania a long time ago." So the point is, Trump is recognizing in his own small, grudging way the importance of Juneteenth. And I think it's good that Trump made the decision to move the rally, because nobody was buying his first solution, which was to pretend that the rally was for Juneteenth.
Your rally in Oklahoma is set for June 19th. Was that on purpose?
No, but I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well, I'm just asking. It's on the day of African-American emancipation.
That's right.
It's the Independence Day.
The fact that I'm having a rally on that day, you can really think about that very positively as a celebration, because a rally to me is a celebration. It's going to be really a celebration, and it's an interesting date. It wasn't done for that reason, but it's an interesting date, but it's a celebration.
Really? You wanted to celebrate the end of slavery with a stadium full of white people? What, is this dude trying to gentrify Juneteenth? It's a celebration. What a bullshit excuse. You know who Trump is? Trump is that dad who tries to act like he didn't just forget his kid's birthday. "All right, son, I'm off to the bar." "Oh, but daddy, it's my birthday." "That's right, and what better way to celebrate your birthday than by getting drunk with all my friends?" You know, I'm glad that Trump didn't go through with this rally. Because if he did, there's a good chance there was going to be one black family who showed up thinking it really was a Juneteenth celebration. "Hey, I brought the potato salad." "Oh shit, I misjudged this situation." So luckily, Trump seems to have solved the Juneteenth rally dilemma. But as is usually the case with Trump, it's never just one problem. Because while his rally no longer conflicts with Juneteenth, it still has a major conflict with the coronavirus.
With President Trump now just days away from his first rally since the coronavirus outbreak, a new warning this morning from Tulsa's health department director, Dr. Bruce Dart, telling Tulsa World a large indoor rally with 19 to 20,000 people is a huge risk factor today in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Noting a significant increase in cases, Dr. Dart says he's concerned about our ability to protect anyone who attends, including our ability to ensure the president stays safe. Acknowledging the risk, the campaign is now requiring anyone who attends to sign a liability waiver, giving up their right to hold the campaign or venue responsible if they contract the virus.
Okay, look, I know that social distancing has been falling out of fashion recently, but it's one thing for people to be gathering outdoors wearing masks to fight against police brutality and racial oppression. It's another thing for thousands of people to gather indoors, probably without masks, to watch a boxing match between a man's mouth and his brain. I mean, the fact that Trump is making attendees agree to not sue him if they get coronavirus at his rally should be a pretty good signal that this whole thing is a bad idea. It also shows you how full of shit Trump has been about coronavirus this whole time. Yeah, because what does the contract even say? Promise not to sue me if you get this deadly disease, which is basically a hoax and not that bad, but totally under control, and you can cure it with bleach? Also, how's Donald Trump going to tell other people they can't sue him? That is the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. Suing people is Trump's favorite thing in the entire world. As we speak, the man is suing Yankee Candles for not having a hot dog scent. So, either way, it looks like this Trump rally is officially happening. Coronavirus be damned. And if you are planning on going to this rally, I mean, go with God, but just remember, every time Trump makes you sign something in advance, it means you're about to get screwed.